Episode 14. The subject here is discipline. I feel like half the parents are for something and the other half are against it. It's practically politics. I think discipline is very, very, very important. And some kids need stronger doses of it than others. Every kid really is different. Discipline creates order, structure, consequences for bad behavior. And for discipline to be truly effective, the kid needs to be also receiving tons of love. We need to counteract that discipline. The love on the backside is what makes discipline effective. They need to know that it doesn't matter what they look like or how they act or what they did or did not do. I love you regardless. There are things I want for you in life that I know will make your life better. But if you do everything wrong, fail at everything, and even tell me you hate me, I will still love you just as much as the very first time I laid eyes on you. And that is the truth. A kid needs to hear and feel some version of that frequently, but also often. There was a distinct moment when Levi was 3 years old and he was mad about something and I told him he couldn't do. And he told me he hated me and he didn't love me anymore and he was never going to love me again. Now he was a 3-year-old throwing a temper tantrum, but it still ticked me off. I started to yell back at him. You know what? He screamed back, what? I calmed down in a split second and told him in the nicest way ever, it's all right, buddy. I still love you. He looked shocked. He said, really? And only a way a 3-year-old could. Of course, I told him. I will always love you, no matter what. And we had a great little talk. And even though he was only 3, I could tell that that had a huge impact on him. I think before then he assumed love was a bargaining chip. It had a big impact on me too. He was 3 and probably won't remember that fight. But I can tell through his actions that in his core, he knows that no matter what, he is a deeply loved boy. Now, I want to be the best father possible. And creating our family playbook and creating this content, those are ways in which I'm still trying to improve as a father every day. And I know Ryan wants to be the best mom possible. And we know that in order to be the best parents means we have to be both on the same page. We have to be a team. We have to be indivisible. And that means consistency. Making the same corrections, providing the same guidance, rewarding the same behaviors. We both know that our common goal is to raise awesome adults, not raise them to be kids. We know that being the best parent means not enabling our kids and letting them run the household. We understand kids do not know what's best for themselves. We, their parents, know what is best for them. We provide a safe, clean, loving, comfortable home with rules and routines. And we enforce those rules. We live a disciplined life. And while we do punish bad behavior, discipline also means instruction and knowledge. We are always teaching and always learning. Giving a child everything they want is an absolutely terrible way to parent. You will absolutely destroy your child with overindulgence, entitlement, and dissatisfaction. I decided a long time ago, my kids are going to come from a nice, loving 2-parent home. They're going to see a unified wife and husband that love and discipline them. They're going to have independence within reason. I am not going to let a daycare raise my kids. I am not going to let school teachers raise my kids. And schools are a whole subject on their own. They are not going to be criminals. They won't do drugs. They will not drop out of school. And I love them enough to tell them these things. From the day they understand it until the day they leave my roof. And I love them enough to discipline them if they do something stupid. Most importantly, I love them enough to let them face the consequences of their decisions. Now, I believe in structure and I believe in discipline. And discipline comes in many forms. And I don't care how you discipline your child to the extent that the discipline works. As long as it corrects the wrong and encourages the right, great. If timeout is effective, great. If a stern talking to is effective, wonderful. If taking away a treat or games or an event is working, perfect. That's the point of discipline, behavior correction. My experience is that discipline has to be changed up. I find that the same thing over and over is not effective. My mom always put My mom always put hot sauce in my mouth for bad words. And at first it was terrible. Now I love hot sauce. If your method of discipline is not working, change things up. Try something different. Figure out what the kid will respond to this time. If verbal correction isn't working, try spanking or taking something away. If spanking isn't working anymore, try some sort of verbal correction or take something away. That's one of the challenges of being a parent, figuring out what works. It probably won't work forever. Then you just have to adapt and change again. No one said this dad thing was easy. I have no problem spanking my child on the bottom as an effective behavior correction method. Their bottom is well padded, and the sting is an effective reminder of wrongdoing. I find a good spanking allows me to not have to spank them for a long time. The mere threat of a spanking is enough to fix most things. I think if I had to spank my kids all the time, I'd probably find something else because clearly it's not working. And if I keep spanking my kids all the time, I'm just not being a good enough dad. It's time to change. All three of my boys responded very well to spanking, so I rarely have to break it out of the repertoire. I'm sure some kids won't respond to it, and I'm sure some parents are against it. And in those cases, don't do it. As long as your other tactics are working, I just don't care. Here's what I have a serious problem with. Beating a child. Good dads never leave lasting marks on a child. We don't leave welts or bruises. No dad should ever strike a kid in his head or body. When it comes to punishment, we must remind our children why they are being punished. That's the point of discipline. I think it's very important that we wait until we're no longer angry or emotional, if that's feeding aggression or clouding judgment. It happens to me where I know I got to step back from this one, send a kid to his room and chill out a minute. On the opposite side, some behaviors need immediate action to really drive the connection between behavior and consequences, but only if you have a clear head. Temper tantrums, I just don't entertain them. So you cry in your room or I pick you up by the ankle and I take you to your room. Either way, hysterical crying equals in your room. Bye. I always explain why they are receiving the punishment, how it could have been avoided, or what would have been better behavior. Then I give the punishment. Because if you don't explain why they are being punished, what's the point? There is a purpose to punishment. It's called teaching, behavior correction. I always remind my children that I don't like giving them spankings. I love them so much, and dad must make sure they remember that their behavior was wrong, so they grow up to be great young men and great dads themselves. And this helps them remember. For those who are against spanking, I do think you're wrong. When properly used, spanking is a very effective tool. We probably both agree a child must be trained to act properly, and that requires both incentives and corrections. Even our Father in heaven agrees, as there is much scripture that very directly encourages proper physical course correction for our children. Punishment is not the only way we teach our kids. Positive reactions and encouragement are very effective tools for training our kids. They love seeing our eyes light up and being praised. We celebrate when they do something good, as if they just won the Super Bowl MVP. We do want the child to have mostly happy memories growing up. They are not our little slaves to abuse and do whatever we want. They are extensions of ourselves, and we want to bring them up right in the world. The counterweight to discipline is love. Like I mentioned earlier, our kids need to be able to come to us with anything, and we need to remind them of that. That is where great communication comes into play. We need to listen to our kids. We need to talk and teach our kids. Even when it's awkward or uncomfortable, we need to let our kids know they can always come to us and tell us anything. When they come to us, we need to control our reactions to what they say. How we react can really scar a kid and impact their future self-worth or their ability to come to us again, especially in the more extreme cases. So extreme shock, rage, fear, or disbelief can send the wrong message to a kid in a real critical time of need. We should control our expressions and emotions and let them speak. First and foremost, they need to know that they're loved, regardless of anything else. They will probably need a good hug. Then we can address the matter in a calm, appropriate manner. And in extreme scenarios, an immediate trip to a counselor might be necessary. It's really hard sometimes, but spending one-on-one quality time with our kids is huge. It's going to make all this stuff we talked about before so much more effective. Both mom and dad, one-on-one time with each kid. And I know that's hard for those of us with a full house. You know, the first kid, it's pretty easy. The second kid, a little more difficult. Third kid, even tougher. And beyond that, especially when the kids are close in age, good luck. You know, send me a letter telling me how you do it, because I have no clue. One-on-one time, it's great for bonding. It's a time to listen to them and maybe do a little teaching. You know, it should be with our attention on the kid and not watching a movie or some other distraction. You know, a tea party, a walk, fishing, watching a scenic view, board games, cooking, hunting, or a project. I mean, these are all good ways to spend uninterrupted quality time with our kids. As with everything in parenting, it's hard to get in a one-off discussion on a topic, and that's really what happened here. But truly, it's hard to talk about discipline without talking about the love and encouragement and trust on the other side of the equation, because without it, punishment's not going to be effective long term. Now, let me tell you the one thing that, regardless of your parenting style, that absolutely drives me crazy. I'm talking absolutely bonkers, because you are absolutely self-sabotaging any, and I mean any, attempt at having your kids respect your instructions. When you make a threat of consequences and your kids call your bluff, then you wiggle your way out of it. That's something I am way too stubborn to do. You know, when I say something, I mean it. My yeses mean yes. My no's mean no. Do not make a threat if you can't back it up. Be prepared to actually do what you say you're going to do. I've got a friend that threatens to throw away his kids' toys if they don't do what they're supposed to do. And then the kid doesn't do it, and the toys stay. Shockingly, the threat doesn't work. The kids don't listen. His dad's a liar. Kids call bluffs. Don't bluff. Send a message of consistency and honesty. If you say it will happen, it needs to happen, or you're a liar, liar, pants on fire. Have some freaking integrity. Thanks for listening and watching. Comment below. I'm listening to those comments. Feel free to submit stories and thoughts to Townsend@townsendrussell.com. And of course, find us everywhere on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, podcasts, and our website. I'm Townsend Russell with 100% Dad and the Dad Group. We're preaching over here for dads to step up, be real men, and real leaders of their homes.